Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and you are here at The Farmy Reads. And today I'm gonna do my very first mid-year book freakout tag. As you can see, I have a huge stack of books, which, spoilers, actually, maybe I should turn this a little bit. Little bit. Okay, pretend you didn't see any of that. So this is if you don't know, the mid-year book freakout tag is something that has been going on BookTube for many years. It's a standard list of questions talking about, you know, just different categories and questions about books that you've read throughout the year. So let's just, first of all, let me organize myself. Let's flip these around so you can't see them. So the first question is, what is the best book that you have read so far in 2024? And I'm gonna say what my favorite book is, and then also an honorable mention, because my favorite book of the year also is my answer for the second question, which is your favorite sequel that you read so far this year. And that for me is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I read this, I believe, in May with Bestie Allie. We did a buddy read. I reread Ninth House and absolutely loved it all over again, and then read Hellbent for the first time. And as you can see, she's tabbed, she's annotated. Like, I think about this book not only daily, but like multiple times a day. And just the way that I feel about the characters is unmatched. So if you have not heard of this series, it follows our main character, Alex Stern, who is a troubled young girl that ends up going to Yale University on a scholarship as a part of a super secret society called Lethe House, and they are the protectors of all these other magical societies that exist on the campus of Yale. And in the first book, she gets embroiled in a murder mystery, and this picks up right where pretty much Ninth House left off. Obviously, you would have to read book one to get this one, but I just cannot recommend these books enough. I cannot wait to see. I think it's going to be a trilogy. I don't know. I could read these characters forever. Darlington, unmatched. Just unmatched male character energy. And the side of him that we get in this is just unbelievable. Like, I loved him in Ninth House, but the way that I love him in this is insane. So if you have not read anything by Leigh Bardugo, I highly recommend that you start here. She is really popular for she's Grishaverse, right? I'm pretty sure. Is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I read Shadow and Bone and I did not like it. It was way too YA for me. I do love this series by Leigh Bardugo, and I also, if you can see it right there, she came out with her first historical fiction fantasy book called The Familiar, and that book has a lot of mixed opinions. I personally really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. It's wildly different than this. Like, don't read this and then read that and expect anything to be similar. But anywho, I absolutely love this book. It slaps. Ninth House slaps. Please read it. That's that. Okay. And also, it's my favorite sequel. So that was unfortunately the second question. The answer is also Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. But I want to give an honorable mention in the best book category, since Hellbent was kind of like answering 2 questions, and that is The Ministry of Time by Kayleigh Bradley. This book made me feel so many emotions. This is another one that I think about often. I'm pretty sure I read this in May and included it in my wrap up, which if you haven't seen it, I will put it up here. Hopefully it's that wrap up, whichever one it's in, and I talk about this. But I, again, think about this book often. So the premise of this, we're living in a time in Earth where time travel is possible, and there is a department similar to like the CIA or the FBI of the government called the Ministry of Time, who manages the portals that are able to be used to travel in time. And the way that they're using them in this book is they're bringing people from different points in history to present day, and they're assigned, what are they called? I can't remember. A bridge. Okay, so the characters that are serving that work for the Ministry of Time are called bridges, and then the expats that they bring from the other points in history are their charges. And the bridges are tasked with acclimating the expats to modern day. But our 2 main characters, what is her name? I do not remember the main character's name, so that's unfortunate. But let me see if I can find it. Hold, please. You know her name, right? Oh God, did I miss a giant part of this book? Oh, I remember now. We're not going to talk about it. Okay. So our female main character, the bridge, is tasked with Commander Gore, who was lost at sea on an expedition in the 1800s, and a love story blossoms, if you will. But just the writing is so atmospheric and so tragic. Like, you feel every emotion that these characters go through from beginning to end. Like, I don't know if I ever would have ever in my life tapped a literary fiction sci-fi book like this, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I think it's best if you just go in, like, I've given you enough information, right? Just go into it blind, and I promise if you like sci-fi, if you like romance, you're gonna like this a lot. Okay. The next question is, what are some new releases that you want to read but you haven't yet? And I do have a couple of them, but a couple that I want to read that I don't currently own that I'm waiting for from the library are Reckless by Lauren Roberts and Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. If you haven't heard of either of these, one is a horror and one is the second of a romantasy series, the first one being Powerless. There was also a novella, I think Powerful, that came out this year. I have heard that Reckless is not very good, but I loved book one and I just love the covers, so like I'm probably gonna get it from the library, read it, not enjoy it, and then go buy the Barnes edition anyway, because that's just the type of person that I am. I have 2 editions of book 1, like I'm not gonna get book 2. So we pick up right where we left off with Our Girl and Kai and the Prince and all that. So that's book 2. And then Incidents Around the House is a new horror release by a very popular horror author, Josh Malerman. I have always wanted to read something by Josh Malerman. I just have not yet, and I have been seeing really good reviews about this. So those are 2 that I'm currently waiting to get my grubby little paws on that I don't have. But what I do have are my book of the month. So the first one is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is an author that I absolutely love. So she wrote Long Bright River, I think maybe like 2019. And that is another book that I think about often. I have kept on my shelves for many, many years. I actually want to reread this year, especially now that she has come out with another nice, fat, chunky book. So this one I think is taking a 70s summer camp vibe with a missing person mystery. And you guys should know by now, I like to go in pretty blind. That's all I need to know. And I actually really, really enjoy this cover. The like dripping pink on the front and the back, and like the very woodsy vibe of it, but you know something dark and twisted is gonna happen inside. Here for it. Here for it. And then the other one is another one that I got from Book of the Month, which I think I unboxed these. So this one is All the Colors of the Dark, and this is by Chris Whitaker. This is another author that I have really been wanting to read and I just haven't yet, and this was a nice other chunky option from Book of the Month. So this one is also taking place in the 70s in the small town of Montclair, Missouri. Girls are disappearing. Great. That's all I need to know. So we have another kids missing situation. So I think these books are very much going to be similar in like a good summer thriller, but not like a popcorn thriller. I think these are going to have a lot of depth, and I don't know about you guys, I really I love a fat book. Like, I just feel so accomplished when I finish one. I like the way that it feels in my hands, except for when it hurts them, which is almost every time. So the next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of 2024? And for me, put your cowboy hats on and your faces of surprise, because it is gonna be Lost and Lassoed, and that is by Lila Sage. Is that who does these? I'm pretty sure it's Lila. Why don't I check before I do these things, huh? When did I read? Yep, it's Lila Sage. So this is book 3 in the Blue Rebel Ranch series. The first book is Swift and Saddled. No, the first book is Done and Dusted and the second book is Swift and Saddled. Oh, I have them. Whatever, I have the first 2. Book 3 is just following another set of characters. I honestly don't even know which ones, and I don't care. I ate up the first 2 books. I'm pretty sure in 4 days, like 2 books just whoosh, off the TBR. They're so good. Just if you want, you know, if you like cowboy romance, if you are a Chestnut Springs fan, you're definitely gonna love this. I personally am not Chestnut Springs at all. I read book 1 and I don't even care to continue. Like, I have tried to pick up book 2, which I have been told is the best one so many times, and I just don't care. So I'm gonna be a Rebel Blue Ranch girl and we're gonna move on. I love these. I'm so excited for Lost and Lassoed. The cover is so cute, as you can see, and yeah, that's definitely my most anticipated release, and cowboy romance is my most guilty pleasure. All right, oof. So my biggest disappointment of the year is unfortunately so far American Rapture by CJ Lead. And I got this as an e-arc on my Kindle from NetGalley. So many thanks to NetGalley, publisher. I think she's Tori Nightfire, and the author CJ Lead. So this book follows our main character Sophie, who is a 16-year-old girl, and her twin brother has since been taken away and institutionalized because of his homosexual tendencies. So her parents are very devout, religious. She definitely seems like she's been brought up in some sort of like a very conservative cult type of situation, and a pandemic breaks loose. Okay, so be warned, this is the two main themes running through this book are a pandemic creating an apocalypse of sexuality and religion. Okay, so that's not something that I'm interested in, but the cover is amazing, and I just loved Mayfly. I talk about it all the time. Again, that's another one that I think about all the time, but I do. I did not like American Rapture at all, okay? I could not relate to the main character at all because she's half my age, almost. I am not religious. I lived through a pandemic working in healthcare. I'm just sick of it. I don't, like, we've done it. We're done. I'm done. We're done. And it just was such a wild turn from the content that Mayfly was. Sure, I understand that as an author, you or a human being or whatever, you have the right to write whatever you want, right? They don't all have to be the same, but I just felt that the body horror was lacking in this, the violence was lacking. Like, that's what I was looking for, because that's what I got with Mayfly, and that was something that I was interested in. Mayfly read like a horror book in my head, okay? And I love horror movies, right? So that's what I wanted with American Rapture, and it was just kind of awkwardly reading about a 16-year-old girl discovering her own sexuality, but like, I don't know, I'm 32, I'm almost 30, I'm closer to 33, it's July. I don't know. It just didn't hit the way that Mayfly did. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars, and unfortunately it was my biggest disappointment, and I love the cover so much, but I don't know if I'm gonna buy it. I do need to get a copy of Mayfly though, because that slaps. Okay, of course this is at the bottom. Why wouldn't it be? Hold please. Hold up, wait a minute. I've gone around too much. So the next question is, what book surprised you the most in 2024? And for me, that is going to be I Cheerfully Refuse by Leaf Anger. And this is 1000% one that I recommend you go into blind. All that I knew about this is that it followed our main character, who is a musician searching for his wife. He's looking for the spirit of his wife. It's so fever dreamy on top of that. I didn't tab it. Please look away if this is something that upsets you. But boy, this ended up having so much depth and so much beautiful writing to it that I ended up dog-earing the pages. Am I ever going to remember what part of it I wanted to highlight? Probably not. But I definitely will reread this because it was just so good. And like, it does at first it seems like it's not going to have a plot, and it does seem very ethereal and dreamlike, and like you're reading a book but there's a layer of fog between you and the actual content of the book. That's what this feels like. But then it all comes together and it all makes sense, and it's beautiful and it's sad and it's emotional. I absolutely loved this. If you get it from Barnes & Noble, it has an irremovable sticker, so be warned. That's that. But I also love the cover. Yeah, this book absolutely surprised me. I really wanted this to be the year that I got kind of like back into literary fiction, and this was one of the first ones that I read, and it absolutely did the trick. So I definitely recommend. We're back. I took a tiny break in between because I was starving, but we're back. I am 99% sure I talked about the biggest surprise that, ooh, that is too bright. Hold please. Ugh. Okay, so the next question is, who is your favorite new author of 2024? And it can either be a new like debut author or just a new to you author. And that for me is a new to me, myself, and I author, and that is my new queen, Robin Hobb. So Allie and I very ambitiously buddy read this entire trilogy. This is the Farseer trilogy, which is the first recommended little trilogy of the Elderlings realm, which is a 16-book high fantasy world concocted by this absolute genius, Robin Hobb. And the reason that these books just slay is they're boring. Like, it's literally like, okay, no one come at me, but book one is, it's in premise boring. But very similar to like a George R.R. Martin, this author just absolutely engrosses you with her writing. Like, I cared about what this 6-year-old boy was doing with his time, right? And I think that's pretty amazing. So the Farseer trilogy follows our main character Fitz, who is the bastard of the future king of the 6 duchies. That's it, dude. That's all you need to know, okay? Right? I can't very well sit here and talk about everything that this trilogy encompasses. If you are just looking for your next high fantasy, just bingeable author, this is it. This series just can be read on its own, but because I'm obsessed with Robin Hobb, I am currently working on the Live Ship Traders trilogy. So the Live Ship Traders trilogy is second in line in like a recommended reading order. I will link the article that I am following down below. Thank you to my friend Olivia for sending that to me. You are a real one. But yeah, I absolutely am loving it. I have just the 3rd book left. So I read I read Ship of Magic and Mad Ship. And the 3rd book is Ship of Destiny, which I'm waiting for from the library, but honestly, the covers are just absolutely incredible. If editing me isn't lazy, I'll put them up here. I'm really wanting to get my grubby little paws on the original hardcovers like my library has, because I just think they're so good. But yeah, Robin Hobb, absolutely my favorite new to me author. These books she wrote in the 90s, she started, so I was literally born around that time myself. So yeah, absolutely. And you know, that speaks to how lasting this writing is, right? Because these were written in the early 90s, and I am 32 years later reading them for the first time, and they have just withstood the test of time, I'd say. So I'm running out of room on my desk, so those are going on my chair. What do we have next? Okay, so my newest fictional crush. So the next question is, who is your newest fictional crush? And I've already talked ad nauseum, but it's Darlington. And I was obsessed with Darlington from Ninth House, which I originally read like 2 or 3 years ago whenever it came out. And his character development and what happens to him in Hellbent, it's unreal. Like, I'm actually blushing just like thinking about it. So yeah, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Please, if you're gonna do anything this summer, if you're gonna do anything this fall, will you please just read this series? Just get it started. Let me know how you feel. It's perfect introduction to dark academia. If that is a category of book that you are interested in trying, I'm telling you, Ninth House and Hellbent are absolutely going to scratch that itch this fall. So Darlington, I just look up some fan art on Pinterest and then read the books and then talk to me. Okay, so the next question is, who is your newest favorite character that you have read in 2024? And that, for me, hopefully BookTube will be happy to know, is not only Veronica Speedwell, but also our boy Stoker, okay? So I started reading the Veronica Speedwell mystery series because all of my favorite booktubers love this series, and I wanted to love it too. So I started with Curious Beginning, and then Perilous Undertaking is book 2. Just finished A Treacherous Curse, got that from the library, and I have A Dangerous Collaboration next. I believe there's like 8 or 9 books in this series, and Deanna Raybourn continues to come out with them. I think the newest one came out last year. So this series follows Veronica Speedwell, who is a leopard operatist, meaning that she is a scientist concerning butterflies, ends up entrenched in a murder mystery with our male lead character Stoker, and they are just the perfect pair of like grumpy miserable man and like sunshine golden retriever female. Like, their energy is just unmatched. The romance that's developing is unmatched, and I just think the writing is so good, the banter is so good, the mysteries are really fun, and like each one follows a different mystery. They're fantastic. I absolutely recommend. And if you don't think that these are, I'm definitely gonna buy them, but like we've talked about, Mama's trying to be frugal in this economy. I definitely want to buy them because, like, look at these covers. These are, in my honest opinion, some of the most stunning. I know I'm holding them like an absolute psychopath, but these are just some of the most stunning covers that I have ever seen. So I own books 1 and 2. Again, I definitely want to get the rest of them. She keeps she keeps going under my desk and flapping her little ears and then slamming her skull underneath my desk. I mean, who am I to tell her what to do? But in case you hear any weird noises, it's probably just this little goofball. So, anywho. Oh, I forgot to grab that one. Good Lord. So, the next question is, what is a book that made you cry? And there were a couple of books that made me cry, but the one that I just had to talk about because I also am still thinking about it is Kingdom of Ash by the queen herself, Sarah J. Maas. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series, which follows Aelin and her, what are they in this? The Cadre. I don't remember what like the group is called in this one already, but this is an epic YA fantasy. If you haven't read it yet, you know about it, you've heard of it. I absolutely loved the way that this ended. This is I think probably the biggest book also that I've read this year so far. I think it's like 1,000 pages, but I also love the UK covers that I got. I actually recently have been stalking eBay. Like, if you guys forgot about eBay, there's so many books on there to be bought, okay? And we're supporting underconsumption and secondhand core on this channel from now on, okay? I'm saying it, so I stick to it. But there are so many books on there that are in very good condition, and I have been keeping my eye on, I really want to track down and obtain the original paperback covers, if not the hardcover someday. Listen to this foolishness. Realized that I had the original Throne of Glass out of print, like the original print, and I had put it in a bag of donate/sell, and it was sitting in the trash bag in my garage. And I thought of it like I just like fever dreamed it at night and then woke up the next morning and like ran to the garage to retrieve it. So it's now very delicately been wiped clean and put up there. But yeah, anyway, so if you haven't looked on eBay for books recently, I highly recommend that you do, because if you go on Pango or any of the more popular ones that have kind of, I think, replaced eBay, the price gouging is ridiculous. Like, you're still gonna see it on eBay, right? I've been watching a few special editions of things I really want to get my hands on, the Red Rising, Illumicrate ones, and yeah, you're gonna get price gouging anywhere. But if you're looking for out of print editions or like older 90s covers, like I'm looking for the Robin Hobb 90s hardcover books, there's some on there. Like, I just got an offer from Mercari today for $13, but then you'll go on Pango and someone is selling it for, I've seen upwards of like $60 and $75. So don't sleep on eBay if you like to purchase gently used secondhand. They have a lot of new, yeah. But anywho, Kingdom of Ash, it was just a fantastic way to end a series. I thought Crescent City was my favorite SJM, but House of Flame and Shadow absolutely blew that out of the water. And that is honestly the only reason that I didn't pick House of Flame and Shadow for my biggest disappointment, is because I had put it so far out of my brain. I literally just remembered that I had read that piece of trash. But Throne of Glass is 5 stars from beginning to end. I highly recommend this series if you are looking for something really easy to read, a very easy to understand world. There's some great Easter eggs in here. I just absolutely loved it. It's awesome, and I can't wait to honestly reread the entire series again next year and hopefully tab. So this was the one that made me cry. Drink your water. What's next? Oh, okay, the next question is, what is a book that made you happy? And if you look on my story graph, which I really need to update and do better about sharing on here because I think it's really fun, but most of my moods on the little pie graph are like tense, dramatic, dark, gloomy. So I don't like read a lot of happy literature. I don't know what that means about me as a person, but this book right here made me happy, sad, angry, like this made me feel many emotions. But at the end, like, you always get an amazing happily ever after with Abby Jimenez. So my choice for a book that made me happy is yours truly by the queen of romance, in my opinion, Abby Jimenez. So this book follows 2 doctors that meet and become fast friends through letters that they write each other, even though they work in the same emergency department. And our main male character, I think his name is Noah, hold please, Brianna and Jacob. Okay, Dr. Brianna and Dr. Jacob Maddox, he suffers from anxiety, and as a healthcare provider that also suffers from anxiety and a lot of the emotional and mental states that Abby Jimenez's characters struggle with. But really this one in particular, because they were healthcare workers, I just resonated with it. The chemistry between the characters was so honest to the level of like their relationship at different points in the book. Like they started as friends and you felt it, but then like the way that their love blossomed, just, I think this writer can do no wrong. So this is the beginning of like a little trilogy. The second one is, no, the first one is Part of Your World. This one is Yours Truly. And the third one is Just for the Summer, which everyone and their mom has read. It was the runaway hit romance at the beginning of the summer. I did read that one and I absolutely did enjoy it. I ended up giving that one 4 stars. In my opinion, Yours Truly is the only 5-star out of that little trilogy. But if you are not familiar with Abby Jimenez's romance writing, I highly recommend. She is my absolute favorite choice for contemporary romance. 100%. We're getting there, guys. Okay, the next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year? And this is actually a fairy loot. I don't know what it's about. Do I plan on reading it? Yes, I do, because I think Allie read it and she enjoyed it. But I just, wait, I hope it hits the lighting. I have like a little light up on my monitor. I hope it's gonna hit. It's The City of Stardust, and that is by Georgia Summers. And yeah. Oh, hold please. I put all the artwork in there. It gives Valeris like nothing. Like that's what I like about it, right? Because it gives Valeris like nothing, in my opinion, has ever given Valeris before. Like Georgia Summers, and 150% whoever designed this amazing artwork took inspiration from that, and I'm so happy that they did. Everything about it is gorgeous, stunning, inviting. I actually really am excited to get to this, and I definitely think it is the most beautiful book that I own. In fact, if you can see the empty space right there, it is the only special edition that I keep displayed like this. All the rest of them have the sprayed edges. So if you have read this book, please let me know your opinions in the comments. I have not seen a ton of reviews, but again, Bestie read it and she liked it. So yeah, and it's just so gorgeous. And I really want to, after the book of the month ordeal is over, want to start prioritizing reading some of these special editions that I have accumulated. So, okay, 2 more questions. The next question is, what are any books that you have left that you want to read by the end of the year? And for me, because I'm a masochist, it's gonna be the Stormlight Archives from beginning to end. That's right, all 4 books that are currently out, because I'm pretty sure that book 5 comes out either at the end of this year or at the beginning of next year. This is book 1, The Way of Kings. Every single one of them is this massive. So this is a Brandon Sanderson Cosmere epic high fantasy spanning a world, I think that is in peril in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure we're gonna get a hero character. I don't know. I don't care. Everyone is rereading this because book 5 is coming out, and I absolutely loved the original Mistborn trilogy. So, and when I tell you I have been thinking about this book, like I know I've said that so many times, but I've been thinking about wanting to read this book and I haven't even read it yet. Like I just think about it all the time. So I am very hopeful to be able to read like 7,000 bajillion pages of Brandon Sanderson before not only the end of the year, but whenever book 5 comes out. So the last question, we made it, is what was your favorite book to movie adaptation? And I was perusing my list for quite a while. I don't think I read anything like that was new this year that's a book to movie adaptation, but I did start reading for the first time the Olympians, the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. So I'm gonna go ahead and say The Lightning Thief, because I actually like the original one where the characters are way too old. I started watching the show, and although it was very much like it's way more true to the story than the movie was, I just haven't kept watching it. So I think I need to watch episode 1 again and keep going, but I thought the movie was actually very fun. So I think it's Alexandra Daddario is the girl, and I love her. And literally these characters are like 13, 12, 11 or something in the book, and the actors that are playing them 18, 19, which is just absurd. But I thought it was very fun, and if you are looking for something like middle grade but is still really gripping as an adult, I highly recommend this series. I've never read it before, which is crazy because it's Greek mythology. Like, okay. Oh, was that Zeus? Okay. Okay. Like, it's absolutely amazing. I read I think I've read books 1 and 2, so I know there's quite a few more, and I think another one coming out. So I can appreciate that Rick Riordan is trying to grow the series with the audience that was a fan of it when they first came out. And I am also now a fan, almost 33 years old. And with that, we have come to the end of my very first mid-year book freak out video. Wow. Thank you so much if you watched. Hopefully you got some recommendations. Please let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, if you love Hellbent as much as I do, and if you would be so kind to support my channel and get my videos out to more people. Hit the like button and also subscribe so we can continue talking about books. It's gonna be a good fall for books and a good winter. I'm very excited. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!